Hello everyone, at 1995 here in the video games and fanfiction plot with a new story for you all. It is called His Queen. If you guys don't know, it's another Transformers fanfiction, and I do hope you enjoy this story. And remember, I do not own the Transformers Prime series or this story. I give full credit to its author Syzzy WinterFalls 13 on Quotev. Now on to the story. Day off. Sorta. Wednesday. Molly, are feeling well? Yeah, just tired. I answered Optimus, stretching my paws. Tired of what? You have done nothing all day. I picked my head off my bag, stretching my back and legs. Exactly. I'm tired of doing nothing. I'm bored as hell, I declared, rolling over. I looked at the ceiling, hands behind my head. Why don't you come and play video games then? Maiko suggested, racing Raph in a video game. I prefer Mario Kart and Xbox games, I said, getting up. Then what do you want to do then? I pouted, and slunk towards the rundown couch. I have no idea. Isn't that fun? I jumped over the couch, sitting down. Maiko and Raph bounced up, my weight sinking the couch to one side. Well then, you're going to have to suck it up, Maiko replied, leaning one way. But Maiko, I whined, pawing her shoulder. Molly, go bother Optimus for a minute. K. Maiko pushed me away, and I whimpered. Oh. I huffed, and got up. Optimus, what should I do? I asked, looking to him. He leaned towards me, putting his hand on the railing. It is your choice. I groaned, turning a 360 degrees. That is why I asked you. I don't know. I sighed, putting my fist on my face. I'm so bored. What do I do if I'm bored? I pondered, biting my lip. I jerked up, coming up with a thought. Let's go to the forest. All of us. It would be so fun. I yapped, jumping up and down excitingly. We could go exploring, find cool hangouts. I gasped, smiling, maybe even find a honeycap cafe. I smiled even wider, and looked to Optimus. He seemed amused at my eagerness, and I beamed at the slight grin on his face. If everyone else agrees, then I see no problem in going, he responded, making me very bouncy. My eyes glittered with happiness, and I bounced over to Maiko. ACK. Molly, get off, please. Maiko wheezed as I squeezed her. Maiko. Please. I begged, putting on a puppy dog face. She tried to look away, but I inched my snout closer to her cheek. Ugh, fine. I give in. Maiko groaned, laughing a little, and putting the controller down. Yaz. I bounced up and down, clapping. Come on. I shouted, wagging my tail. Dragging her off the couch, I picked up Raph by his legs. I said everyone. I laughed, and carried him over my shoulder. Where's Jack? I asked, pulling my friends with me. Driving with RC. Raph said, clinging to my fur. When will they be back? I questioned, turning around. And as if on cue, RC and Jack drove into base. Jack! I yelled, yanking Raph and Maiko down with me as I ran to him. Want to go to the forest? I asked, smiling like a doof. Sure? Jack replied questioningly. Yes. I jumped, and dropped Raph. Oops. Sorry. I said, wincing. No problem, Molly. Raphael mumbled, giving me a thumbs up. But, wait. Jack said, raising his hands. Isn't the forest, like, off limits? Jack asked, raising an eyebrow. I heard it is home to werewolves. Maiko said, leaning down to Raph. Molly, Maiko's scaring me. Raph said, backing away from Maiko. Maiko, the werewolves won't harm you. They have their own territory, and respect if I have bring human associates. They would be happy to meet you. I replied, smiling. What about the one that attacked the college dude in the maze? Jack asked, fiddling with his fingers. We never attacked anybody. I snapped, teeth baring. Jack flinched, backing away. Sorry, I apologized, scratching my mane. I just don't like it when the rumors state that we attacked the college kid. Who was taunting us anyways? You were there? Bulkhead asked, looking at me. Of course, me and the other juveniles were playing around, chasing each other and learning how to navigate, fun stuff. I replied, waving my paws. So, we won't get attacked? Maiko asked. Nope. I chirped, wagging my tail. Okay, good. Raph said, and climbed back onto me. You're fun to hang on to. I smirked, and shrugged him off. Sorry, Raph. But I need to get out of this form for a bit. He sighed, and smiled. I laughed, and shifted quickly back into human form. Now, let's get going. I cried, tugging on Maiko. Going where? Bulkhead asked, walking forwards. To the forest. Where else? I cheered, bouncing up and down. It will be fun. Maiko shouted, hugging my shoulder, right? I nodded, my nerves feeling like they were spiked with, I don't know. Well, I'm certainly not going. I turned to the fun sponge, and frowned. Too bad. You need to get outside. I scoffed, you can't stay huddled up in your room and be a hermit. Trust me, I have tried. Ratchet frowned, turning from his computer. Ratchet, it would be a good idea to come with us. Optimus agreed, you would be able to come up with a better understanding of Earth's wildlife. I grinned, happy that Optimus was on my side. I could hear Ratchet mumbling under his breath, and I smirked, knowing I have won. Fine. But I won't enjoy it. Ratchet growled, glaring at me. Yay. I squealed, and ran to Optimus. Let's go. I shouted, and jumped up and down. Calm down, Molly. I turned to see Maiko laughing, you look like a third grader who just got the Barbie she wanted. I scowled, waving her off. Optimus knelt down, picking me up. Don't. You. Dare. I snarled, pointing my finger at him. I swear on my timeless soul, that he smirked, as he transformed with me in his hand. I panted, my head on my knees. You do this just in spite of me, don't you? I groaned, rubbing my head. I've been hoping you would get used to it by now. Prime cooed, driving down the tunnel. Well, you're just going to have to try harder. I teased, crossing my arms. I'm glad we at least get along. I will find out his secrets. I smiled, and saw Jack and RC pull up beside us. Where exactly are we going anyway, Optimus? RC's voice popped out of nowhere, and I jerked up, looking at the radio. The forest. It is very interesting, to say the least. Optimus replied to her through the comm. I giggled, and looked to the tree line. Let's just hope you don't trip again. I jibed, or run into a branch. I sighed, and felt Optimus heat up. Oh, are you embarrassed? It's okay, Optimus. It's not your fault you are so clumsy. I taunted, flashing a grin. Molly, may we please not speak of that? Optimus replied, turning off-road. Whatever you say, Sir Trips a lot. I smirked, and looked towards the opening. We are almost there. I squealed, leaning forwards. Driving into the gap between the oak trees, we skid to a halt, kicking up some fallen leaves. Optimus, I swear if you transform with me still inside, I will gaw. He stood up, me in his palm. I'm sorry, Molly. However, your expression does make up for it. Optimus apologized, setting me on the floor. I forgive you. You're right, I may be getting used to being turned and twisted around. I breathed, waiting for the others. As Bumblebee pulled in, I started to get hyper. When Raph got out, he was staring all over. Whoa! I skipped to him, pulling him away as Bee transformed. It gets better the farther you go. I said gently. Jack walked over, RC close behind him. So, this is the forest from the inside. He marveled at the trees, and kicked over a rock. Yep. Isn't it amazing? I chorused, and watched as Bulkhead and Ratchet pulled in. I still don't understand why I have to come here. Ratchet groaned, transforming. This is so cool. Maiko shouted, skipping towards me. Ha ha, I know right. I giggled, and wrapped my arm over her shoulder. Wait till we get deeper in. I started to climb over the low-hanging branches, helping them over. Well, we didn't come here to gawk at the entrance. Come on. I quipped, and trotted to my friends. But Molly, what if humans are in here? We can't risk the idea of being seen. Ratchet declared, motioning his hands. Ratchet, Optimus reassured, walking through the trees. Molly has already assured me that humans won't come near the forest, and I trust her judgment. I paused, looking back at him. I smiled gently, and kept walking. Walking through the woods was great. I talked to Maiko, Jack, and Raphael about what was in here, and talked to Optimus too. Ratchet, stop complaining. I groaned, and slouched over. This place seems highly indifferent to others. Why are we even here anyways? I was about to snap, growling silently. I was about to turn around and tell him off, but I heard a thunk, and something heavy falling on the ground. Optimus was on the ground, holding his head. You ran into the same branch again? What is wrong with you? I shouted, laughing. He groaned, sitting up. There is a thing called ducking. And it appears that you haven't heard of it. I sighed, walking to him. I pointed to him, looking around. Can I have a new guardian? Mine is faulty. Optimus, you okay? Ratchet asked, holding out a hand. I am fine, Ratchet. Optimus said, taking his hand. I just need to remember to look before I walk forward. That sure is right. I smirked, and strode over to Maiko. And I thought he would learn. How wrong was I said, face-bombing. Maiko laughed, and looked up. The trees are so tall. Maiko sighed in amazement. I smiled, happy to share this with my friends. They are tall, but you should see the ones in Animalia. We have so many species of trees, and a lot of them are huge. I exclaimed, beaming. Optimus caught up to us, along with the others. You should take us to Animalia one day. Raph suggested. I nodded, looking to Prime. Y'all would like it. I chirped, smiling. Let's get to exploring. I thought excitingly, and turned into the brush. Molly? Where are you going? RC asked, beeping. I want to explore some more. I said simply, pushing past the branches. Molly, shouldn't we stay on path? I turned to answer Optimus, tightening my lip. And what fun would that be? Agreed. Maiko replied, walking towards me. I could deal without the weeds, though. She inquired, kicking over a log. Yeah, I agreed, but it's worth it in the end. I could hear the others crunching the sticks while they walked behind us, and I took a deep breath, the scent of fresh air and plants hitting my nostrils. Perfect. Our little hike took a couple of turns, Bulkhead tripping over a root, Jack falling into a hole. It was fun. Continuing through the woods, the sound of water reached my ears. Is that a spring? A waterfall perhaps? I pondered, and climbed into a tree. What is it, Molly? Jack called up to me. I need a better reach. I declared, and jumped from branch to branch. Be careful. Prime called out, as I leapt from tree to tree. Getting closer to the sound, I landed on a large log. The trail is getting clearer. This could have been where the animals came through. I guessed, and walked across the bare path of forest floor. Wait, I would never suspect in Nevada. A pretty decent-sized lake, a spring-fed stream pouring into it. The trees were rooted to the rocks that surrounded the lake, and from the color, the lake was pretty deep. Wow! I gasped, staring at the beautiful body of water. The trees towered above the lake, providing perfect cover. A cliff was at one side, worn down from years of rising and falling water levels. Molly, what did you find? Maiko yelled from far behind me. I knelt down to the rock, touching the water. It's beautiful. I sighed, looking towards the shimmering water. Molly? I heard the bushes behind me shake, and footsteps approached behind me. Whoa! Raph stood beside me, the first human to possibly step foot on this land for 200 years. I heard the mechanical whir from Bumblebee, as he stepped out of the woods also. The tree line reached all the way to the water, like it does at the Frio River, but it was thin enough to see through. I could hear the others gasp, as they too saw the glistening water that is usually unknown to these parts. My mind slipped into deep thought, as I watched the water rise and fall on the shore. Molly. Molly? I was shaken from my thinking, as Maiko waved her hand in front of my face. What do you think? I sighed, asking everyone. It is, I don't know how to describe it. Jack smiled, jaw slacked. Me neither. Raph agreed. Water isn't supposed to be likely in this part of the land. Ratchet stated, surprised. Optimus walked to me, rock shaking from his heavy footsteps. This lake is very serene. Optimus commented, did you know about this place? I shook my head, awestruck. Maiko clapped her hands, gaining our attention. Well, I think we just found our new hangout. Don't you agree? She asked, looking to us all. I and the rest nodded our heads, as I looked at the lake. And I am not giving this one up. We continued walking around, stopping by a couple of places for a rest. I think this place is awesome, Jack said, climbing over a branch. Yeah, and the best thing is we can all just chill here and not worry about anything. Maiko laughed, leaning against a log. What's weird is that I get Wi-Fi out here. Raph countered, playing with his laptop. That is odd. I agreed, sitting on Optimus's shoulder. I saw him stare at me a couple of times, but I shook it off as me being stressed. We should be heading back, before it gets too dark. Optimus said, looking up through the leaves. I need to get back to work. Ratchet complained, being annoying. Then let's start going. I replied, yawning. Time skip brought to you by the Fabulous Knockout. That was fun. Maiko exclaimed, high-fiving me. Totally. I chuckled, walking up the catwalk. Well, at least you are not bored anymore. Optimus stated, looking at me. Yep, so not bored anymore. I grinned, waving my hand around. I felt a vibration in my pocket, and grew confused. Who could that be? I thought, taking out my phone. Answering the call, I held it to my ear. Hello? Lady, glad you answered for once. SHT, it's Jecular. Councilman Jecular. What a pleasant surprise. I growled sarcastically, what would you possibly want from me on this fine day? Actually, there is a suitor coming in. He should be here around 6 o'clock. I hope you're there, or we, as in the council, will have some consequences. I stood there in shock. He waited till the suitor was almost there? I am going to kill him. I snarled, replying. You and the council don't have any rights over me, Jecular. Bayites, the only reason you're on the council is because you killed the one that originally took your place. I snapped, ending the call. Taking a deep breath, I cried, Optimus, you have to help me. He jerked up, walking towards me. What is wrong? I slightly panicked, there is a suitor coming at 6 and it's 5:50. That stupid councilman set me up. I wailed, stomping my foot. I need you, RC, and Bumblebee to come with me to Animlia and stand beside me while I scare the greedy suitor off. Can you do that? I pleaded, clasping my hands together. He seemed to be in shock, because his optics widened. Why are you upset about a suitor? Don't you want a king? My eye twitched at those words, and I snarled. I will choose a king by my own terms, not when the council decides it is time for me to share my rule. I yelled at Ratchet. Molly, calm down. My heart thumped in my chest as my throat twisted in anger. I'm cool, Maiko, I'm cool. I said, pushing my hair back. Please, Optimus? I looked up to him, clenching my fists. He tensed his shoulders, and nodded. RC, Bumblebee, prepare to roll out. Optimus ordered. RC and B looked questioningly at him, but nodded as well. Ratchet, prepare the ground bridge. Ratchet groaned, and looked at me. Coordinates? I walked to Raph, who plugged in his computer. I grabbed his laptop, and typed in the coordinates that led into the castle. There. I entered them, and the ground bridge turned on. Let's go. I shouted, and rushed through the bridge. Don't transform. We're heading right inside the castle and I don't want tire tracks on the tile. I ordered, jumping to get farther. Entering my chambers, I waited for them to come in. When they came out, they stared in wonder at my chambers. Okay. Wait here, I'll be out in a minute. I stammered, running up the stairs into my bedroom. What am I going to wear? The Autobots stood outside, waiting for her to come out. What has gotten her so worried about a suitor? RC asked, puzzled. Beep beeped, saying that she probably doesn't want a suitor. Bumblebee may be correct. The way Molly acted when asked about wanting a king showed her hostility towards the idea. Optimus agreed, looking at the door on the platform. This room is large. Larger than what Molly needs for personal space. Does she really need this large of an area to live in? Optimus pondered, and heard Molly yelling in her room. Where is it? The Autobots looked to the door eye level to them, confused at her struggle. Is she alright? Optimus asked himself, stepping closer to the door. The door swung open with Molly wearing a purple dress with a white fur collar. Optimus froze, staring at her. Not again. Molly walked down the stairs onto the floor. Come on. If I am late, it will make a less intimidating impression. She yelled, and walked towards the door. They seemed so large for her human form, but they swung open in front of her. The Autobots looked at each other, and followed her out. The castle halls were huge. Taller than what they were expecting. The walls were red, and looked like they were covered in satin. They were covered in tapestries, statues, paintings, and other art that looked like something out of a fairy tale. Molly trudged through the hall, coming upon a pair of doors. We are going to take the elevator, since we only have about 5 minutes. She screeched, and pressed the button that opened the large doors. She walked in, waiting for Optimus, RC, and Beat to step in. They did so cautiously, worried about how much the elevator can hold. This lift can hold up to the combined weight of 7 cave dragons, which, I might add, weigh about 20,000 tons each. It's safe. She scowled, and pressed the down button. The doors closed in front of them, and they were at the first floor really quick. What room is your floor on? RC asked, looking up. The top floor. So, the 200th story. She replied, making a guess. 200? Molly rolled her eyes. Yes, the castle is based off the bismuth crystal, and I have no idea what it is made out of. They reached the throne room, which was huge also. The throne seemed to be able to expand, so it could fit her dragon form. It was made out of gold and marble, with various jewels, most often opals, embedded in it. The cushions were made of velvet, and had a nice shine to it. The whole throne sparkled in the lights. The floors of the throne room were made out of pearl and marble, with small crystals in the cracks. Whoa! RC gasped, looking around. I know, right? Molly agreed, and guided them over to the throne. RC, stand over there, on the left. B, stand right here, next to the gold lion. And Optimus, stand right here, next to the throne. Molly directed. She sat on the throne, laying her legs on the cushions and her dress flowed beneath her. They walked to their spots, and Optimus couldn't help but stare at her. The sound of metal came down the hall, as the royal guards, dressed in blue and yellow uniforms and all different species, entered the throne room, followed by a youthful vampire dressed in black and purple. They knelt down, one fist over their heart, the other behind their back. Lady, may I present, the first guard addressed, who was a crocodile-alligator hybrid, Lord Julius Carthbane III. The guards made way for the suitor, to approach the throne wistfully. Your Majesty, I have traveled from Dishasha to the capital to seek your hand, if you are impressed by me, that is. Optimus was disgusted by the way he presented himself, making him seem like an arrogant gold digger who only wants to rule. My father, Julius Carthbane II, was the rightful owner of the Carthbane Manor, which held all the riches you could dream of. As I took his place, he knew I would be destined for something great. And here I am before you know, Your Highness. The crocodile, Sobek, who was the Queen's personal guard, held a spear to the vampire's throat before he could step closer to the Queen. After all, what's a queen without her king? He asked, smirking, before noticing the Cybertronians glaring down at him. He gulped, and heard the growl from the queen. Well, historically, better. Take him away. Molly hissed at the suitor, sending him off. The guards grabbed him, dragging him towards the doors. But Your Majesty, a woman can't rule without a man at her side. That struck a nerve. Optimus glared daggers at the pale boy, feeling very tempted to shoot him. Excuse me. Molly growled, clenching the armrests. I am not a princess. I don't need saving. Molly snarled, eyes filled with rage, I am a queen. I got this shit handled. The vampire jerked out of the guard's grasp, and walked closer. Molly continued, a good woman can fight her own battles. He frowned, teeth slightly poking his lip, that doesn't mean she wouldn't want someone fighting beside her. Optimus looked toward his enraged charge, who started to freeze the throne. I would be lucky to marry a man who already knew this. But sadly, no man has come close. She growled, almost clawing the cushions. Your Highness, this kingdom needs a king. It is the law of the ancients before the War of Glor. It is how it should be done today. The vampire exclaimed, obviously not seeing the robots about to aim their blasters. I have had enough of this. Molly snarled, and threw herself onto the suitor, who shrieked in fear. Pinning him down, she stepped on his chest, knocking the breath out of him. I need you to understand something before I kill you. She said, grabbing a sword from the guard. I will not succumb to the likes of men who believe like you do. She barked, aiming the sword at his neck. Take him away. And if I ever see you again, treating another woman like you did today, I will not hesitate to take your heart out and crush it. The vampire was dragged out, him yelling for mercy. Molly sighed, and handed the sword back to the griffin she took it from. I have had it up to here with these suitors. She sighed, and pinched the bridge of her nose. Well, if you had a boyfriend, you wouldn't have to deal with this. Sobek said, walking up to her. I know, but boys are too stupid. I need someone who is mature and responsible enough to realize my space. Plus I need to know the guy first. Molly claimed, patting Sobek on the back. We have to go now. Make sure Jekyller is punished. She told Sobek, her second in command. Right away, Your Highness. You alright, Molly? RC asked, looking at her. Yeah, just tired. She replied. Bee buzzed, saying she was awesome at taking care of that coward. I agree, Bumblebee. You handled the suitor fairly well. Optimus said, walking with her to the elevator. Yeah, I just wish that stupid agreement wore off and I got to choose. Molly sighed, looking down. Agreement? Prime asked, worry clearly in his optics. Since I was raised among humans, I preferred their way of life. So, when I turned 13, me and the council had an agreement that they couldn't send suitors if I was dating anyone. Molly said, pushing the elevator button. That must be hard. RC said, be worrying in agreement. And the worst part is that Jekyller has been trying to throw me out of rule ever since I was able to give orders. She claimed, entering the elevator. I just hope that I can get him out of the kingdom and out of the council before he catches up to me. Optimus looked at her as they went up, and could see the pain in her eyes. She isn't fighting for her rule. She is fighting for her life. Well, that's the ending of that chapter. I do hope you enjoy this video. If you like to see more, remember to hit that like button, subscribe to this channel and leave a comment down below. Until next time.